And we are live on the United Public Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM New Orleans and 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. How cool is that? And we are live streamed wherever podcasts live, so we're not hard to find, including my YouTube channel. So go there and subscribe. To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps, fellow experiencers and brothers and sisters in Christ, welcome. This is Father Shawn's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Father Shawn Whittington. I'm an ordained Catholic priest with the United States Old Catholic Church. I'm the spiritual director and fully professed brother with the Old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary. I'm a team member with Society of St. Benedict and co-founder of GhostBegone.biz. And yeah, I'm that guy on Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists, which is currently streaming everywhere if you haven't caught it. And I want to thank all those people that have reached out to me, still catching the show in HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Travel on Demand, Amazon Prime, who reach out to me with such wonderful support. And it's been out for a while, but I get surprised by that every week by people doing that. So thank you, and God bless you all for the continued support. Anything you want to know about my wife and I, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, all kinds of cool things to see. My books are there. Buy a couple of books. You can get them less expensive on Amazon, and they come in an audio version. But if you get them off my website, I autograph them. They leave my office here, and they arrive to you in a beautiful house blessing kit. You never know when one of those is going to come in handy. But another beautiful thing about buying them off the website is part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. How wonderful is that? You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. There's a place on there where you can make an appointment to speak with me about your spiritual issues, and my online courses there. Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. You can enroll right there on the website, or you can reach out to me and discuss the course with me, and we will determine if it's, the right course for you before making that type of commitment. It's a 12-week online college-level course, and all my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed items that you can only get from yours truly. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We have a great show for you today, but of course you all already knew that. That's what you tuned in. My guest today has a huge following, and I love him. He's a super cool dude. But first, I'm going to bring out my wonderful permanent co-host. She's another reason why you guys tune in. I know you all love her too, as I do. Love her, respect her, known her forever, and she's a lifelong paranormal experiencer. She's the owner of Stellium Books, my publisher, and she's just really super cool. So please, without further ado, give a big, warm Paranormal Ministry family welcome to the one and only Annette Munich.
That was such a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Very happy to be here. Love our guest that we're having back again today, Bryan M. Bowden. A fascinating person. It's going to be a great conversation, especially for Halloween time. So I hope everybody's ready.
Absolutely. On that note, I want to tell people, in addition to today, which is going to rock, the next 2 weeks are huge shows. Next week, probably a huge announcement. And then the following show on Halloween with Susan, we're going to have some nice giveaways and a lot of fun planned. So today, next Friday, and the one after that are 3 shows you want to make sure you catch. So if there's anything you want to throw out there or announce now, Annette, feel free, or I'm ready to open up the corral doors and let our guest, who's a paranormal stallion, run out of the barn.
Open the corral doors, huh? Are you going to put his feet to the fire?
No,
Circle
I
the
already did. I
wagon.
already did in the green room before we went live. I will say one thing to everybody out there. Just one. I got just two words to say:
What?
castor oil.
Castor oil. It works on a lot of things.
I don't
It's
know if we're
good
even going to
stuff.
talk about why I even said that during the show. We'll let Brian decide. But some helpful
Let's
information and
we could bring them on, but anybody who's wondering about the book is coming along on time.
very,
So
very cool.
it
I'm
should be
excited.
ready on Halloween, like we said.
Very, very cool. All right, brothers and sisters, here he comes. Buckle up. I love him and respect him. I've known him too forever. It seems like he's. I don't know what kind of label to put on the guy. Uh, you can bring him on and he can talk about anything under the paranormal umbrella.
Right.
He's one of the most knowledgeable paranormal authorities I personally know.
And
Um,
what I love is it's also crypto and all of that. It's CERN and just, everything that you could think of. He knows a smattering of it all.
the only bone I have to pick with him, if you've ever stalked him and looked at his Facebook profile, it says he created the thank you card for the thank you card. And I've never gotten a thank you card for him. So I'm going to pick the bone with. All righty, here he comes, brothers and sisters. Please give a big, warm paranormal ministry family welcome to the one and only Bryan Bowden.
Brian,
Thank
welcome.
you.
Great to have
Yeah,
you back.
it's great to see you again, Annette and Shawn. Thank you very much for having me back on the broadcast. Yeah, this was many, many moons ago. I created a thank you card for the thank you card, which you get a thank you card for. So it's a never ending, it just keeps going. It just doesn't end.
Absolutely.
But it's great to be here, and there's some lovely people in there. Hi, Heidi. I'm going to say hi. um, yeah, castor oil. It's the older folk, parents of ours, used to talk about that, and I think that's one of the keys to living a longer life.
Yeah.
Although it's not something you really want to consume too much of. You may have
But,
an issue, but
you know, and back in the day, they used that in cod liver oil a lot for a laxative. But the castor oil has so many benefits for your skin, your joints, all
yeah,
kinds of things.
inflammation.
Yeah,
It gets rid of toxins. It gets rid of parasites.
all kinds of things.
It's also good to if you're going to do oil, and I'm not a doctor, please go check with a licensed physician. You could also add black seed oil to it. And then there's oil of walnut or virgin walnut or white walnut, something like that. But if you just put a couple of drops, you can put it on, like if you get a bruise or whatever, you can rub it into the bruise and it seems to alleviate some of that inflammation. You can stick it by your belly button, it'll get absorbed, and then it'll help to push out poisons and parasites. So it's decent. It's good. It's good to experiment with. It's not like you're gonna, worst thing you're gonna do is be in the bathroom quite often.
But
Initially,
not if you're not ingesting it.
yeah,
If
but
you're
if it gets
rubbing it
absorbed
on
into
eczema or
yeah, well,
some,
if you put it in the belly button area, I mean, there is a potential to get absorbed in through, that's where your umbilical cord was, and it does connect to certain parts of your body. Um, and I did a really good job on my youngest daughter's umbilical cords. I'm very impressed with my work. So was a doctor. That was many moons ago too. But yeah, you can use it for a lot of things. It's really interesting. Something Annette said while we were backstage is there's something that people, you would want people to ask you that they never do. And sometimes I want them to ask me, like, how can I be a better human being?
oh,
Like not that I'm an expert on it. But I would love to tell people because we're living in a tough society right now.
we are.
We have a major good versus evil battle. We
We
have a
do.
major religious battle going on between a couple of different things. And how about we start being nicer to each other, respecting each other? Out of the blue, if you're online with somebody and you're in a supermarket or a store or whatever, and they're wearing a name tag, like, oh, hi, Greg. Thank you very much for your help today. Have a blessed day. Now, some people may get annoyed at this. because they've never encountered the kindness that comes with being a good human being. Um, but you'll be very surprised. My youngest has been doing something, and I think I mentioned it before. Since she could, like really, really talk, and she's very talkative. She'll go there and like, oh, I love your glasses, Annette. I love the glasses. She'll pick something out, and I've seen people who look like I'm going to, grab you and choke you. Go from that to, oh, thank you very much, and they smile. And that's another thing we need to do: smile more, laugh more. You know what the coolest thing in it's a little bit weird, but I love when you're scrolling through and you get like those belly laughs from kids, be it your own or your nieces or nephews, or like you just see a video where the little kid is just laughing.
Hmm.
That alone can raise your vibration
Hmm.
into the positive zone you want to be in. And like that was it's great. So those are the little things I always tell people.
I totally agree with that. And something that I've been saying lately is right along those lines. Kind of like we just used to be a much more polite society, taking the time to say please, thank you, excuse me, little things like that. They matter a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm not get I don't want to be religious. So I'm not I am. So I'm actually more spiritual. I have my own relationship, and I don't want to offend anybody here. But once there are certain generations started to eliminate God in one form or another, and accountability, everything went to hell, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
There you will be accountable for your actions. You will be accountable. Don't think you won't. You will. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, um, my birth mother was not very nice. And my last two words to her when she was in, I didn't bring my kids. My brother's like, "Where are the kids?" I'm like, I would never subject them to what I was seeing. I said it didn't have to be this way. She turned away from me, and I said, "Good luck. You're going to need it." And she has begged and pleaded and come to me several different instances. We do table tipping, where the table is controlled by a spirit and they only allow certain things in. She's barged her way in. I know where she is. And everybody's like, "Ooh, this is nasty." I'm like, I know who it is. And she's begging and begging and begging for forgiveness. Now, no disrespect to Shawn, your father, Shawn, and to anybody else, but God forgives. I'm sorry, but God forgives. And I said, sure, you fix everything you've done, and I'll forgive. So keep going, because I've had people come back that they've been, I should have been a better person. That's all they say. They're really getting. It may not be the hell that you think with fire and brimstone, but it is. You are going to be held accountable. And if the worst thing in your life was like the fact that you disappointed a family member, if you ever disappointed your dad and you're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I disappointed him," I feel like, that's going to be your hell until you figure out how to fix it. And you'll get a chance to come back and reincarnate and do whatever to fix it. But why not just be like, as Heidi wrote there, gratitude,
Yeah.
thankful. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's been a really, really tough couple of weeks for me. And I've had many conversations with God about certain things, and trying to figure out, because it seems like you keep getting back to zero. Go back to zero. Like, what do you want from me? I will do what you want from me. That's it. I always try to do good, not a goody goody. It's better to do good.
Yeah.
You know what? And then when you do good, and you go and you investigate all this craziness called ghosts and paranormal and the spirit world and cryptids and what have you, you're not as susceptible to the evil that exists out there, that prowls the earth looking to ruin man. that we say, thank you, Holy Saint Michael, the Archangel, for taking care of, and God. So sometimes it's better to be on a positive team. Hey, we all have good days and bad days. But yeah, be good. That's what I would say.
You'd be amazed how many people that I have this exact discussion with every week, and I have to say the number top of the list, number one thing that most people reach out to me for is needing help with their anger and how much their out of control anger has gotten them into so much trouble.
Yeah.
And if they're a Christian or a Catholic, it's easy. I always tell them, listen, just what would Jesus do? And ask Jesus for help. But there's been so many people that have no belief system, and I just tell them this. I know the more I try and convert them and pull them over, it pushes them away. So I just tell them this: listen, try this for me for a month, and then call me
Yeah.
back and either tell me I'm full of it or that it worked. I don't care which it is, but I tell them every morning when you get up, look in the mirror and talk to yourself and tell yourself that you're going to try your darndest that day to be the very best version of you that you can be, and the rest will fall into place because everybody deep inside knows what being the best version of yourself means, and everything else falls into place. The
Yeah.
smiles, the courtesy, the helping one another, loving one another, love your neighbor as yourself, turn the other cheek, forgive, forget, all that sort of stuff. All that falls into place if you're striving to be the best version of yourself. And you know what? I get just as many callbacks 2 weeks, a month, 2 months later. Father Shawn, you were right. And I'm
Yeah.
doing so much better now. And then you know what happens? Without I even knowing it, I see their name pop up on the requesting permission to become a member of the Facebook, my church's Facebook group page.
There you go.
And and I notice they start to come over. So that's where it all it's right here, man. And I also tell everybody else, and I agree with you 100%, Bryan, and Annette too. I know she's mentioned this and she agrees. Everybody, regardless of who you are, regardless of what religious belief system you have in place or not, atheist, non-believer, whoever you are, it doesn't matter. You are going to talk to God one day.
Oh yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say, and I'll let it go at that because this isn't, this is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting into it, but well, I was laughing a bit, and no disrespect. Um, Heidi in your chat is saying raise your vibration. I've always been trying to raise my vibration. We're actually doing a show coming up with a buddy of mine. He does this thing for vibration, and it's drum circle. And people bring drums or play the
Oh yeah,
spoons or whatever, and it's not hedonistic. It's raising your vibration,
yeah.
raise the happiness. Music feels good. You're moving around and grooving instead of just sitting there like a lump. When you when you say what would Jesus do, depends on what day you caught Jesus.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I'm going to tell you, he may have been a lamb this time around, but when he comes back, he's going to be a lion. And I'm just letting people know he's going to come back. And I always have this vision of him coming off Mount Olive, busting open the gates, almost wearing sunglasses, going, I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of
yep.
bubblegum. And and then the battle begins. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. You have your good days and bad days. A couple of weeks ago, I did a conference out in Missouri, the Crossing Realms conference, and I presented there. And I drove like 21, 22 hours to get there.
Wow.
It was amazing. The first time in a while, I was in the area for a couple of days, almost like about a week, about 5 days. First time in a long while, I was able to literally laugh for a while and be happy and find happiness and not have to explain myself to anyone. Um, it was just, I missed it. I missed it, being that. But what was also amazing is, yes, I do a show and I say certain things to people, and I try to be positive. I will call it out as I see it. But I had people coming from all over the country, that came to literally meet me. And I'm like, it blows your mind. You're like, oh, it's very, and thanking me for like, how you do your show. It's really positive. It's fun. You're comical. I mean, we do some crazy things on it, but it's just wonderful that whatever you're doing is resonating with people, just like your show, and your work. Yeah, there's the darker component that you have to deal with, especially the Legion of Exorcists. I don't go that far. I rebuke all that stuff, and I'll send them your way, Shawn. But
Thank you.
but it's, you know what I mean. I want people to come on, and if I wanted to do an interview show, I would sit there and ask 50,000 questions. I want more of a dialogue, like we have, like if we were all at a Nets dining room table and hanging out or something, or out for lunch. That's what I want. I want to have fun. Like, what happened? Oh my God, please tell me. But I did get a memento for the trip. I they were doing $100 tattoos, and all the ladies of the event all got the same ghost on their forearm, which is great. And I'm like, okay, I have to have this for the rest of my life. So I went with a let me see if I can get it over there, Knights Templars hooked cross.
Oh wow.
Because I am a Knights Templar, and I go by what the actual Templars were, the bloodline, and Mary, and there's a philosophy that we're talking about right here that goes with that, where you're gonna do right, you're gonna turn the other cheek until you don't have to, and there are times you don't turn the other cheek, and you do what you got to do. But some of the cool things were we had a get together prior to the event with just at this ranch, dude, like big ranch, and we're in this big barn and has bunkhouse. It was awesome, and you could see it was outside and it's rainy because it's Missouri. We get that Kansas weather and the tornado stuff, and it's still beautiful. You're overlooking some water in the distance, miles away, and we had a dog man howl that was like vocalization.
Oh,
And I was just like, and I kind of looked over to a buddy, Miguel Ramirez, who does Sasquatch Theory, and Krista from Blondes and Boots was there, and they were like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "That's a dogman vocalization." And a couple of days later, we went to an old asylum to investigate. We happened to have they have the people that own that or buying it, and I thank them very much for it. They had a Airbnb like across the way. So there we are, all of us in the Airbnb. And when I got up at about 1:30 in the morning, when we were sitting there, I was tired, and it was a long week, fun and whatever. But we were just sitting down, just talking, Krista and I, and we had a tree knock right, like no more than 50 yards from where we were sitting. And then we had a vocalization howl across in that insane asylum area, like whoop. And I'm like, you're like, okay. But the next day we all had to go our separate ways. I had to go back to Florida. So I went into Arkansas, and then I went, I did a whole Dirty South tour, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But the next day,
could I interrupt and ask what part of Missouri you were in?
I was in Richmond, Missouri. It's about 45 minutes from Kansas City.
Okay.
It is in the same area where the Mormons, I believe, deciphered the tablets that they received.
Interesting.
Jesse James was actually in the town. He may have been arrested, and I just interviewed Jesse James's great grandkids on my show, Third Eye Live.
Oh, cool.
I had a couple more howls over there, like vocalizations. But when we were doing the next day, when everybody left, a couple of people, this guy Paul and Natalie, they do a show called Paranormal Among Us. She started filming, and literally in the area where the tree knock was, she got a dogman footprint about 19 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. But one of the coolest things was,
how does that print differ from, for instance, just throwing this out at you like
it's a tri print. It's a tri-toed print, but you can also see where the nail is. So what you have is like, it looks like a heel, but it's really the haunch sitting there, and then it opens up to like two that come out and then one in the middle. So it's like it's a tri print. I can't I can show you. I'm going to try to find something where I can bring it up and show it to you what a dogman footprint would look like. Um and then you could see it. This is what I'm going to show you is a lot more extreme, but this is I did a presentation there on Bigfoot and Dogman, and I proposed the theory that dogmen are genetic defects of the Bigfoot line.
Oh, interesting.
And they kicked them out for the purity of the line. And in that essence, they left them. They let them go because they don't want, they're not pure. Um, so okay, you open up something after they update your platform. It's crazy. So one of the this is a perfect place to be, and I'll put it there. This is a little bit more. I'm going to share it with you guys. This way
Okay.
you can see the print, and I did it on a bigger thing. Share my screen. Window. Where are you? Right
I've
there.
been hearing more and more stories about Dogman.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure, how you would make the difference between something being a Dogman or a werewolf. I've heard more
Well,
werewolf
werewolf.
stories too.
Well, we get into that. Werewolf is historically it's something that transforms. So I shared it in the bottom if whoever is controlling the bat
Oh, yeah.
cave wants
If
to
you
put it
could.
up, you will
Oh,
see
here.
it.
Gotcha.
This is a Dogman print,
Okay.
and yeah, and it does have a rear to it. I want
Wow,
to see if
that's
this comes
huge.
in. Yeah, it is huge. So you have the rear, and then
Huh.
you have the. This is big. So this is roughly, yeah, it's similar to the size. I mean, there's another one right next to it. That's a smaller, that's another one. And then we get into that print. But it's really interesting. When I started my presentation off, I started off by
Well,
what's the
that's big.
difference between, there's all these different cryptids. You have Bigfoot, you've got Chupacabra, and I contend that the scariest cryptid on the planet is a teenage daughter. But that's totally different. But
Yeah.
so werewolves are the first in history was uh, King Lycan, where you get Lycan, was transferred into a wolf by Zeus, and something very interesting. And you may be aware of it, Father Shawn, and Annette may be aware of it. Did you know that if you look up Saint Christopher, this is the image you get of Saint Christopher?
Wow, I did not know
Wow.
that.
Yes, Saint Christopher was originally, because of his sinning, dog-headed in some Eastern traditions.
And we're talking of the same Saint Christopher on the Saint Christopher medal.
You got it. And then once
Wow.
he accepted, he encountered Christ as a child, where he overcame his animalistic a bit traits, and he regained his human appearance.
Wow.
So this is just one of many. I mean, if you ever wanted to, I mean, I'm going to do something online eventually on my show, and we go into different structures that we've had and experiences and sounds, and I don't want to take everybody away from all that stuff, but we can always go back. I mean, I think we have vocalizations if we have them someplace, but we'll deal with it
Well,
at a later date.
you segued into this perfectly because Annette had mentioned cryptids right before we went
Yes, she
live in the
did.
green room, and you know what? I'm going to take
Well,
this opportunity. No, I'm not getting paid for this, but I'm going to give some people a shout out here. I'm going to have you. We'll circle back, and I'll have you discuss the enormity of the loss of Dr. Meldrum
Oh
to
my
the
god.
cryptid community. But here, I
Yeah,
wanted to show you this. Do you know this uh, Goblin Con?
I know. You know what? I drove on the way to Missouri. I drove. past Hopkinsville, where the
Well,
Goblin Con, I believe, is.
it's tomorrow. It's today and tomorrow. I thought, well, who better to ask but the man that comes from the Goblin universe,
Yes, well,
you?
the big guy from the Goblin universe, Ron Murphy, is speaking at Goblin Con. He was on
Really?
his way today, I believe. So he's driving into, um, and I believe it's Hopkinsville, where they had the
And
Hopkinsville Goblin that appeared, and all these stories. You always get these stories in folklore, but
well, you know
um,
what's funny about that story? Listen, you know me. I never judge and I never say that could never happen because I've seen things that I never would have thought would happen or could happen until I saw them. The Hopkinsville. Now you've got this whole family that shows up in the middle of the night uh, at the sheriff's office talking about this story of how this craft landed in the woods outside their home and these little green men. It's the
came out.
50s, but come out all over their home. They're battling these things. Um, I bought right into it because I remember that other famous story of the farmer, his wife, and the kid that saw the spaceship land in their barn, and then the actual alien came out all aggressive, and the farmer took a shot at it, and it ended up being Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's gone from one end of it to the culture of UFOs. Once UFOs started becoming bigger after Roswell and the late 40s 50s, um, I just found out the first person to shoot down a UFO was the Red Baron.
Really?
Yes, he was the first individual to shoot down an actual UFO. We were talking about this on another show, and it's just very interesting. Sometimes is it people freaking out because they're terrified of like the War of the World stories. When they did that on air, people didn't know if it was real or not, and you can really they scared the bejeebies out of a lot of people for that. But there's also people that legitimately see these things. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't really want to drive through what I call the Dirty South, which I'm part of in Florida, but I left Arkansas and I wanted to get on a major highway so I can boogie and get home quicker while I was staying in Atlanta. And they put me on these other rural roads where you could kind of go 65 at certain spots, but on the side of it, it was so graded because there are these culverts that are these ditches to collect the rain. So if you built a house, you have to put
Oh, you froze up. We lost
Uh-uh.
your signal. Maybe you
pull
can.
over.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
You're
there
back
you
with
How
us.
about how
We
about
lost.
now?
We
Good.
we got you. We got
Okay.
you.
It could be me. It could be with the internet. YouTube's been having problems lately. We had our show last night with the other night with Barbara DeLong, but so getting back to when I was coming through the dirty, almost at the Georgia line, and I'm coming through Alabama, cutting up, and this gigantic bird that looked exactly like a pterodactyl across, and I would have stopped the car at that point, but I couldn't because I had a car right behind me. There's nowhere to pull off. So I have my dash cam footage, and I'm hoping I got something, but it had that front and rear, and the wings were big on one side, and they kind of went into a point, and it was weird. It kind of had like this greenish black two-tone, like little dots on the bottom. It was very, very bizarre. I'm like, I've heard stories about people seeing pterodactyls. I never thought I'd see a pterodactyl.
That's crazy.
Super
Wow.
right across yeah, it was really, I was like,
Was
all right,
that
I
in
think I
broad
just saw a
daylight?
pterodactyl. I hope I caught that on camera. So it's
I
just
was
going to be a lot
talking
of
to a guy
camera.
not too long ago who's a
Yeah.
retired law enforcement. He lives in that neck of the woods. Retired law enforcement, God fearing man, doesn't drink. and he was walking his dog out somewhere, and he swears to me that he saw a spider like the size of a Volkswagen walk across the path that he was on, and him and his dog actually, he was so, the dog, both him and the dog were freaked out so bad, but he stopped his walk and they went back home because they just couldn't, he just couldn't wrap his head around what he had just seen. I believe all that.
You know what? You get it always happens when you're not looking for something, you always find it. Like if you're looking for love, stop. Go pick up a hobby because eventually you'll find it when you do the hobby. Or whatever, you can't sit and wait for the phone to ring. It always rings the minute you go out to go pick up, something and come back. Damn it, I missed that call.
Right.
So these things do happen. Did I ever think I'd see a pterodactyl in my life? I'm like, no. But there's certain things I would love to see and love to experience. We had a discussion at the end of the conference, of all the stuff you do, and I do it all. I prefer the cryptid side of things. The one thing I'd love to have is communication, and they call it mind speak, where you can just hear them in your head and you can communicate. I'd love to have that because there are plenty of people that say they have it, and who am I to doubt that they do or don't? I mean, that would be ridiculous. They are experiencing something, and there seems to be rationale behind it and what they output. Other people are doing it for show. They want to be part of the club, whatever that club is. But I have yet to have that. But I also think that when I deal with Bigfoot, specifically in the cryptid zone, they know who I am. I've investigated from Canada all the way down the east seaboard and into Florida. And when I got to a site, it's in my friend's group that I'm now part of. Creature Man Investigations it's called. The Bigfoot were throwing things at my tent. So I'm sitting away from the tent with my buddy and his friend, and you can hear it. You can hear him throwing stuff on it. And I'm not in anywhere near a tree that things would be falling. So I think it was almost like, hey, we know who you are. You're good. And then that night, I was so hot. I was, miles worth of hiking, no water. I'm like on fire with the humidity. And I said, you know what? I'm going to sleep in my car, and that's when I'm sleeping in my car. And because we're in Florida, I do, we're allowed to carry, and it's a smart idea if you have that ability. And I kind of felt like, I was just too tired. I looked at the window and I saw what looked like something breathing on the outside of that window. And you can see the breath for a little bit. You got condensation from it. And I'm like, you could watch me all you want, buddy. I'm going to bed. So, yeah, I kind of like was in and out of a sleep because the cars shut themselves off now every 30 minutes. I'm like, please stop that. Let me undo that. I just want the car running all night. So at least I would have gotten straight time. But after about 2 hours, I got back up. So I went to sleep at about 5:45 in the morning. And then I got up like about 2 hours later. Everybody was still sleeping. And when I walked around the car to the passenger side, you couldn't put a young child between me and that wooden railing. But there was enough. There was 2 knuckle prints on the ground right next to my window. So it's when you least expect it. The best evidence you'll get, have those cameras in your car. You're going to find it on your dash camera before you're going to go into the woods and find it.
Well, next weekend they got the in West Point, Kentucky. They've got the Kentucky Folklore Festival.
Yes.
And they got the Sasquatch calling contest and all that. I have to, in my next life, I'm going to live in Kentucky.
I would say Tennessee would be better for you. Tennessee's a better state.
Have you been to that one, the Kentucky Folklore Festival?
I have yet to been to that. Then my next, I'm going to a conference out in Fort Myers. It's an oddities conference tomorrow on Saturday. I'm making an appearance there on that one. I am presenting at the premiere of The Vanished, Greg Ogle's film from Relic Films, and he's doing it in Birmingham. Alabama, on January 31st. So
Cool.
there are tickets available. There's going to be a bunch of people presenting, not many, but it's more for the premiere. But a real nice class of people, very good names, doing presentations there, and you can get the tickets. It's very inexpensive. This is something that is really, really doable for everybody. And if you're a vendor, if you want to sell something like, you get things on Temu and you want to sell it, go get a vendor's ticket. I mean, $50 for a table, you're not going to beat that.
Yeah,
And I think it's
that's
like,
worth.
I think it's like 25 or $27. I forgot the number. It's very, very inexpensive, but it's on Eventbrite. And look up the Vanish premiere, and you're going to get a movie premiere in the same breath. And the people that were in the movie will be there, and they're going to do a Q&A as well. I'm going to do
Very
stuff on Vanished via UFOs and what happens to some people. And we're going to probably dig a little deep into human mutilations, which I think we talked about a bit one point previously.
Yeah, your story on that topic is pretty scary. I had a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
people. Yeah, I had a lot of people reach out to me after that last. It might have been two visits back that you were on and discussed that in pretty
yeah,
graphic detail, and
it's
I had people reaching out to me afterwards that were quite shaken by that.
well, it happens. I mean, we have, you know, everything on this planet's a food source. That's all you got to know. And you go into the Congo or into the savannah of Africa, and there's a big kitty out there. It's a big kitty. Your food. So it does happen. It happens, all over the place. But you're not they don't discuss it too much because it is very unnerving, and it can happen to anyone. But it's exactly the same thing that takes place with the cattle mutilations takes place with the humans. So the only other person um, that ever talked about it was a buddy of mine out of Pennsylvania, and he was a former police officer who passed away. Um, and we were the only one. I would call him up. We would talk about these things, like, how come we're the only two that are discussing it? And he goes, it's a very heavy topic, and there's censorship everywhere. So, I'm not doing it for shock value. With everything I do, I try to give it from my personal camera, my video, my audio, my whatever that I've caught. So I speak from those things, and when I do a presentation, I put in my own personal stuff in there. But I want you to research. Don't just sit there and everybody look pretty and watch Annette and Shawn. They have a guest on. I'm not saying to call them out. Go do some research. And when I put up, evidence or video or whatever, I put up the original. So everybody in this chat that wants to, you can go be a paranormal investigator, because I've seen it 1,000 times, and you may catch something that I miss because I'm not looking for it. It's not fresh in my eyes. And so that's how I like doing things. I want you to question what people are saying. I want you to go and do research. That's the only true way of finding things. And you also find out on this show. So you'll find the truth on this show as well, with some of the guests. So
I
it's
got a
cool.
good Halloween season question for you, because
Sure.
you guys mentioned the word goblins a little bit ago. Goblins,
Yes.
gremlins, all of those things. What do you think about that?
I have I don't know if you know, one of my friends is also an author, and she has her own. She's gifted, Lynn Monet, and she inherited kind of her sister's house, and she was having a problem. Her and her son, they're trying to clean it out from her passed away sister, and she had what I would. The closest thing is like a goblin or a leprechaun or one of the creatures from Grignot's The Bank in Harry Potter. That's what it looked like. I think they've been here since the beginning. Before God said, "Let there be light," they were on the dark void. They commanded a lot more of the acreage that's here, and each one of them has their own little, I guess, what they're supposed to do. Versus like, people like with humans, we don't have a job. They're born into it. This is your forest, take care of it. This is your woods, take care of it. This is your green, take care of it. So these goblins, these fairies, these fae, elementals, I believe exist, and they're trying to exist where they know what we're capable as humans, and they kind of leave us alone unless you really get them upset, and then they'll go after you.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
kind of interesting out here. I'm in Oklahoma. I'm originally
ah,
from Chicago, but I bump into a lot of the Native American legends, lore,
yep,
beliefs, and um, something that I hear quite a bit out here besides Bigfoot stories
the little
is,
people stories.
yeah,
Yeah. So this
little
is
people
very
stories
interesting.
and werewolf stories. And the little people stories are not good. Like,
Yeah, they're not nice.
when you think of fairies and elves and cute
No,
little, no, 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 not good.
they're not good. It's really funny. My great aunt was an Okie, and I would have loved to have been able to go there. It was just a long, 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 long trip, and I had to drive too much. But yeah, it's funny, a lot of this stuff we're broaching right now. I've been talked to other people have brought it up in other shows I've been on. And I've, jumped in on an appearance helping people out. And we were talking about the little people, Oklahoma, and some of the indigenous tribes talk about them. They are not very nice. They are actually very nasty, and they exist and still exist. Some of them still exist today. But as far this, I think it's separate from the little people is separate from the wolf man or the werewolf. In indigenous law, folklore, you have the wendigo, and then you have the skinwalker. And in order to become a skinwalker, you have to do some horrific things that we cannot discuss on this channel or anything else. And you do it not only to others but to family members, and the younger the better. And it's
Oh,
horrific, and will just the worst thing you could ever do in order to go to that dark side and get the abilities of transformation.
wow,
And a lot of these people that are skinwalkers can transform into wolves or coyotes, and
wow,
they do it. And that's why you won't
There's a
get,
little bit in amongst that stuff you're mentioning that we
yeah,
won't get too into. It's also cannibalism.
yes. And that's part of it, because that's what a wolf or a coyote would do as well. It gets really, really, it's bad.
Yeah.
Um, and So you're going to get these different stories, and that's what you would call a transformer, someone who transforms from human into dog or canine or vice versa. Um, the Wendigo is not necessarily like that. It's more of an antler skull and these horns on this bipedal, really creepy and disgusting type of creature that is, people would say is demonic or very evil. It is evil. It's not a good thing to see. And this is why most indigenous do not mention those two names. They don't want to bring it towards them, because words have power.
you
Yeah.
know
So
what?
I'm
I
gonna I'm
want,
gonna circle back one more thing, and I'll
oh,
be right there. So if you start speaking positively, you'll start getting things positively back to you. But if you start speaking negatively, things are like, "Oh, I'll never do blah blah blah." "Oh,
right.
I'll never." Don't do that. Say, "I'm going to do Goblin Con next year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." So that's what I wanted to say. I was kind of circling back to something.
Nice.
Interesting.
Um, I was just going to say that I had a severe haunting and I got help from a Native American spiritual woman. And we did get the situation a lot better. And then she told me, never speak of that in the house again.
You
Never
don't
say
you
anything
bring
about
it
it in
in.
the house again. And now out here, because we live by a creek, and then behind the neighbor's house is a Native American burial mound. And those words that you were saying earlier, and skinwalker. I
Yep.
never say that outside.
No, but what you can do is treat the earth better. You can leave kind of an offering there of tobacco as an honor for their ancestors. Just an offering. It may be taken by something else. Um, and you don't speak of it. Water is energy. It attracts certain cryptids. There's also a lot of, and you'll probably have heard of it, creepy crawlers, otherwise known as rakes. They're very pale creatures, long, spiky arms, really demonic looking faces. And they have a way of absorbing light in the dark and appearing gray or black. And they always want, come outside, come outside. They're mimics and they want you. And if you have dogmen in the area, you're pretty much going to have rakes as well. You have dogmen and rakes, you're also going to have Bigfoot. So for some reason, there's a correlation between the dogman and the rake. And the rakes have actually been accused of killing cattle when they have not killed the cattle. It was rakes. There was a story I don't remember where and who the players were. A farmer had a whole bunch of his cattle killed. He knew he had dogmen on the property. And one night he was walking around, trying to protect the property, and the dogman came out. And a bunch of them, they said, listen, it wasn't us. You have rakes. It was the rakes. So they went after the rakes at that point. So that takes a lot for that creature, the dogman, to go, hey, it's not us this time,
Yeah.
But
very interesting.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's just a wonderful
Well,
world.
in the few minutes we have left before I got to kick you out of here, I want you to tell everybody about your show. I love it.
Okay.
How they can watch it, when it's on, and then any other major announcements you'd like to make, and things you want people to know, any upcoming events you're going to be at, books you're writing, or
no problem.
whatever you'd like to say.
Yeah, so my show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. It's called Third Eye Live. You find it at my YouTube channel. So if you see my name there on the screen, the ad symbol, Bryan Bowden, that's my YouTube. I am not promoting it to its own. I'm promoting me. I'm being a little bit more selfish. So subscribe to me every Wednesday. You'll get the notification, put that bell in there, and you'll get some great guests. I mean, we have a tremendous amount of great guests coming up. We have Stan Mallow. We have Michelle Brandenburg, psychic medium. We have a buddy of mine, Glenn Schloss, for vibration. We're going to start, doing beats and I have a co-host and a friend, Mark Eddy. And he does his own thing. He's an author himself, and we just have fun with it. We don't, we do, if I take myself, if I'm being serious about something, we're all in trouble. That's how I say it. So yeah, so just come, you'll have a good time. It's great energy. It's fun. Yeah, I say the weird things sometimes, I'm like, and we may be, we're toying with doing something, and I have it, I kind of all set up, where we're going to invite a couple of people on that are other show hosts, and we're going to do our own version of A Christmas Carol abridged.
Cool.
Yeah. So
cool.
And we're going to do it like the
what
third
character are you going to play?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be the general narrator or, bah humbug, or something, I'll just make something up. And
I would love to be one of the ghosts. That would be cool.
Well, you may be getting contacted by us, but I would definitely, in the new year, we're almost finished up with the first year there. I try to do a couple months in advance. I would love to have you on, Shawn and Annette, and you can talk about your books and all you do. I mean, you do things I do not. I give you credit. I think you're crazy, and yeah, and hopefully 2026. I'm going to say it's going to be positive.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
I think we might be on the precipice of a lot better things. I see a glimmer of that, and I feel a little bit of that. And if you do Christmas Carol, which I love,
Yeah.
I love the version in Scrooged. I want to be the ghost of Christmas present with the toaster.
We're working on it, and we're just gonna get people to come in, and just no one's ever done it that I'm aware of on their podcast. So I figured we'd have some fun with it.
A lot
And
of fun.
because my
Right.
show falls on the 24th of December, no one's gonna watch it.
I'll be
And
there.
it falls on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. No one's going to watch it. And New Year's, no one's going to watch it. It's not negative. I'm just telling you, like, do I want to watch a podcast? Although as you get older, you're like, nothing happens on New Year's. You're all suckers for going out. I mean, it would be great that if at 12, when the clock strikes 12, everywhere around the world, everybody has green gas. It'd be like, well, it's New Year's, something. But it's just paying a lot of money for the same food you're going to pay a quarter of the price for the next day.
On that note, Brian, I'm kicking you out of here.
I
I love you,
Thank you
brother.
so much.
Have
I
a-
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Have
Thank
a
you for having
wonderful
me again.
weekend, and you'll be back. I'll be
Yes,
throwing
sir.
some dates at you.
Bye.
Take care, partner. All right, Miss Annette Munich. I love Brian. He's cool.
Didn't that turn out to be just a great episode?
It did.
It just covered so much and it was very positive, and I thought it was great.
I will see you next Friday, October
I'm a little
24th.
scared of rakes now, but that's okay.
We'll talk. We'll continue that conversation with next week's guest, Dr. Heather Landon. Will be here on the 24th, and
Awesome.
maybe we'll see what she knows about rakes.
Awesome.
All right, young lady, be careful with the rakes out there and the dogmen and the goblins and all that sort of stuff. Have a wonderful remainder to your Friday and your weekend. I love you. Take care. I will see you next week.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all our listeners, and you have a great weekend.
I'll see you later. Annette Munich, Stellium Books. If you want to write a book, reach out to Annette. If you've written one and don't have it published yet, reach out to Annette. That's what she does. Thank you all for tuning in, because I don't have a show without you guys, and I mean that. Thank you to United Public Radio Network, Joe Montaldo and Michelle DeRoche for making it happen and carrying my show. I really appreciate that. And what else do I want to tell you guys? If you want to join a church that accepts everybody, and I mean that, regardless of denomination, take a look at the United States Old Catholic Church. You might be pleasantly surprised. And if you feel if you got God and your relationship is good with God, but you feel a calling to have an even closer relationship with Him, reach out to the spiritual director of the Old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary. That would be me. And we will discuss this calling of yours and see if perhaps the Benedictines are in your future. Remember, brothers and sisters, we may have done what the devil said we did, but we are not who the devil says we are. Stay tuned for Spirit Switchboard with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. And I love you all. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Peace.